Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host Evan Teague, and with me like always is Noah Bailey. So after nearly 2 years of waiting for this show, it is finally announced that Loki season 2 will be starting streaming on October 6th.
Woo!
Which I find kind of funny for two reasons. One, that's
Okay.
actually the same day that the Craven the Hunter movie is coming out.
That's still happening.
Yeah, it's still happening.
Oh, of course it
It's
is.
like I don't think Marvel intentionally is releasing this second season of their best show on that day, but you could pick any day, and it's the same day as
Well,
their
my thing is
best
I don't think it was
competition.
intentional, but I think when they saw it, they were like, "Well, we're not going to change it now."
Right.
They
But
easily could have, but they're like, "You know what? Nah, we're
like
good."
kind of in that same vein, I find it kind of funny that the whole reason why Loki season one was moved to a Wednesday originally was because they didn't want the either the second to last or the last episode of season one to drop on the same day as Black Widow, which was a Friday.
Mm.
But now, if I did the math right, I think at least one episode of Loki will drop on the same day as when the Marvels comes out.
Yep, I
Like,
believe.
yeah, I don't know why they decided to move it to Friday because She Hulk was Thursday, which I thought was fine.
Uh, Fine, yeah,
It
it's
hasn't
different, but
There hasn't been a Marvel show since, has there?
She-Hulk, Miss
No,
Marvel
that was
was
before.
before. I forgot She-Hulk was kind of long.
It was nine
I don't
episodes.
think so.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, like I am personally fine with it being Friday, because I think Ahsoka is running around that same time too, and that's gonna be Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So if I've always said I don't care who moves where, but just as long
Just make
as
it separate
yeah, that's
days.
fine. We don't need another Miss Marvel Obi-Wan situation where it's
No.
everything's dropping on the same day. And I guess maybe since Black Widow did have like that Disney Plus simul stream with theaters, maybe they were a
Yeah.
little concerned about Loki and that dropping the same day. And since Miss Marvel's in theaters only, it's not as big of a deal. But I just find it a little funny that that's why they moved to Wednesday in the first place, and now we
Yeah.
don't care
Now
anymore.
we're just forget it. Yeah. It probably did have to do with like this is the first time we had like a show and a movie kind of coincide, so they wanted to be careful. But now it's like, people are gonna watch what they want to watch, like whatever.
Yeah,
Plus, I feel like Loki already has a proven track record versus the Marvels. It's like we'll see how that the audience reacts to that. So
yeah. That although that does kind of put another knock against the potential for the Marvels to do really well since it's releasing a week after Dune and the same day as the
yeah.
episode of this acclaimed show. Like obviously this season could be worse. Like I
It
don't
could
it
be,
could be like
but will it be?
I don't
I
know.
don't
Probably.
know.
But
Well, my thing is, what are they gonna do? Because they set up this whole gang thing, and now it's like,
from what from
is Jonathan Majors canceled? Is he not? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are we?
he
Like he kind of was, but now we stopped talking about it. So, like, I don't know if it's still work. I don't know.
from what I understand, it seems like studios across the board except for Disney, have pretty openly been like, no, we're not going to work with him anymore, or at least like there were rumors that jobs he had or like stuff that he had going on were quietly canceled. Disney has stayed completely silent.
I think that maybe they're just kind of hoping people forget.
I
I don't know,
I
because
think what they're gonna do is wait until because they've already filmed all of Loki. They're not gonna
right,
like he was they showed a scene from Loki at the end of Ant Man. Like they're not gonna redo that.
right, it's already happening.
I think they're gonna see what happens after Loki, how like people respond to him being in that, and then figure out how they're gonna because we're still at least 2 years out from Kang Dynasty, assuming it's
Right.
still going to be called Kang Dynasty, because they could just completely pivot into something else. Because they haven't
Yeah,
written the
just
movie yet. They were going to go with the guy that wrote the guy that wrote Ant-Man Quantumanium, but then they decided to get someone else, which I think is okay. The movie is not as good as it should have been. So it doesn't have a writer at this point. It's coming out in supposedly in 2 years. So maybe they're just kind of playing it by ear right now and seeing
Yeah.
how it goes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I really liked his performance as Kang. Like if real world stuff hadn't happened, if he hadn't done what he did, obviously I'd be all for him continuing the character, but
I mean, the
well,
thing is, it's like in the real world, you want whatever justice necessary. If he
yeah,
did do it, then like yeah, shut him down. If he didn't do it, well, don't shut him down. But it's like we don't know. Like we're not, we're
right.
not in it. That's for the U.S. justice system to figure out. But like, yeah, as far as like purely based on acting, you're like, yeah, I thought he did a great job, and I want,
Mm-hmm.
and I do want to see more of it. But again, if justice needs to be served, then by all means. But
Right.
yeah, this is one of those things where, like, yeah, I think they are kind of because again, there's so much investing on the character he's playing. So it's like, do you like they haven't done the whole we're just gonna play it safe and recast him, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're gonna just this because again, this is their Thanos. Like this, you can't just write him out and then because you can't. It's gonna be hard to write out a character whose whole thing is there's multiple versions of himself. Like you have to figure out a way to write out
Yeah.
all of the you know what I mean? That's not gonna be easy to do.
Yeah, there's
So
kind of two things on that. One, yes, this is Kang is kind of these next phases is Thanos, but at least Thanos is a CG monster. So if Josh Brolin, God forbid, did something bad, you could be like, oh, we'll just switch out the voice for someone else. Like
yeah.
it's not intrinsically linked to Josh Brolin. He wasn't even originally voicing him at the end of Avengers anyway. Or he wasn't like doing the mocap.
Mm-hmm.
Although that he's a different color Thanos, so he's a releasing character. I don't know. It's fine.
It was early enough they could make those tweaks.
Yeah, whatever. Two, oh, at the end of Quantumania, they could have easily had it where like, a bunch of Kangs just look different, either like different races, different aliens. Just like there's just different versions of this character. But no, they double down. Every single Kang is Jonathan
Right. So it's like now you can't now you're trapped. Now you can't play it off.
That wasn't after credit scene, so you in like, but it's still canon. It still is.
It's still canon. Like you can't be like that's not like.
Yeah, like you can't expect stuff like that to happen. Like you he I don't know.
It's we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, but yeah, Loki season 2 dropping in October 6th. Yeah, I'm just glad that we finally got a date on that. Now we just need a date on Invincible season 2, and I'll be very happy.
We're almost in June. We still don't have one.
Late 2023.
We're not kidding with this late 20. I'm telling you, it's gonna be like December 30th first episode drops. It's like, bro, like that. You might as well have just said 2024.
Yeah. But we also got an announcement that the Echo series is still happening, the spinoff show from Hawkeye.
Right.
And they're doing the thing where they're dropping every episode at the same time on November 29th.
I think that's smart for a show that kind of doesn't really have as much traction because it kind of just gives you the chance to just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like because didn't Andor's first 3 episodes all drop at the
Yes.
same time?
Yes.
Right. Which I think I think that's smart because again I don't think this was a show everyone was like yes Andor like you know what I mean. But when you kind of get to see a large sample size or in this case all of it, you can kind of just go and like all right, let's see how much investment this takes and if it's good or not.
Yeah. So with Andor specifically, I think dropping those 3 episodes at the same time was very smart because yes, the first two were a lot of world building, a lot of exposition, and if you weren't into that, you wouldn't necessarily like
Stick with it.
stick with it week to week. But then episode three was where things really kicked off. Have you watched it yet?
No.
Okay,
There's a lot of Star Wars content I still gotta catch up on.
fine. It's there, whatever.
I'll watch it at some point, I'm sure.
But then, like as the weeks went on, since people started realizing just how good the show is, more people started watching it. I kind of the fact that they're dropping every episode of Echo at the same time either makes me feel like a it's the show is structured more like one continuous thing where it would make more sense just to watch it all at the same time, or they're not as confident about it, so they don't expect it to build traction over time. But if they had dropped 2-3 episodes at once, and then people could build anticipation from there, I think that maybe could have worked. But regardless, I'm this is a show that I definitely was never like super stoked on. I didn't hate her character, but she didn't really leave much impact to me personally in Hawkeye. But I'm happy that this show is happening, and it's 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 whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll surprise me. Kingpin is going to
Yeah.
come back. I don't know much about Echo outside of what I saw in Hawkeye, but I'm sure it could be at least decent.
Yeah, and I mean, and again, I think it's one of those low to no risk potential high reward, or at least medium reward. Because it's like I don't think anyone's expecting this to knock their socks off, but if it does happen to be pretty good, that's a win.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, it can kind of just. I think releasing it all at once kind of gives it the opportunity to just kind of release into obscurity if it's not, it doesn't have the same selling point.
Yeah. So, next up, HBO Max has officially rebranded to Max. And I kid you not, their tagline in every single commercial for Max, it's Max, the one to watch for HBO and more. Like, the one to watch for HBO.
It's like, really?
Why would you take that off of the branding of your streaming service if you're still gonna reference it in the tagline? Like, why bother? Why should HBO was not the problem with it?
Look, I mean, it's one of those things where the branding didn't make any sense. I swear, it had to be with the merger. There's something in the contract that HBO can't be in the name because it made no sense to change the name in the first place.
Right.
Because again, I think HBO Max sounds way better than just Max, first of all. But also, it's like, yeah, it just. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it is kind of just like, really? You had to rebrand for this? But
I'll say this again. Like, I feel like the fact that you can say, oh, did you watch, for example, have you seen Game of Thrones? You can watch it on HBO. Or have you seen The Last of Us? Oh, yeah, it's on HBO. If you don't have the HBO channel, but you have the HBO streaming app, hell yeah, I'll just watch it on HBO. But now I'll watch it on Max, the one that I watch HBO on. That's so, like, that just doesn't work to me.
I don't know.
And also, it's not just a thing where they. So if you have a smart TV and you had the HBO Max app already on there, if you go into the HBO Max app, it'll redirect you to a thing to download the Max app. It didn't change into Max. It is a different app entirely.
I have not used it yet, so I need to check that out. But that makes no sense.
Right. I'm pretty sure subscribers of HBO Max will be able to will have some kind of what's the word? Like grandfather thing where they your account stays, but
it's like you already have your watch history and stuff still there.
Yeah, because we haven't actually been paying for HBO for a while, but I tested it. I went into the HBO Max app. It told me to download Max. So I download Max. I went into Max, and then it said, like, hello, whatever name we used. Do you want to do you want to re-up your subscription? It was like, okay, so it still recognized that I paid for the app this used to be.
Close enough, I guess.
I guess. Also, I don't like the fact that this app, it went from that like cool purple color of HBO to a very generic blue. Like every streaming service is blue now. We got Max now apparently, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime. I think Paramount is blue. Like
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah,
it's all
pretty much. I
blue.
think Hulu and Netflix are like the only ones.
Yeah, green and red. Paramount Plus. I'm sorry, no, Peacock is
Peacock's black with
black
like
and the rainbow, I guess.
All right, I guess I don't know. Yeah, but most of them. What is it? Sling TV is blue. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, Crunchyroll is orange. That's,
Orange.
um,
Oh, what is it? Fubu or something like that? I think that's orange.
yes.
Fubu TV. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot.
Like you have all these colors, and four of them, or if at least I can think, 4 or 5 of them are blue, like the same
Basically
color
the
of
same
blue.
color, yeah. But
Okay, whatever. Like I don't know, just the whole thing of how they're dealing with I guess Max is just not how I would do it, but whatever. Um, and kind of in that vein, a roommate and I were going onto Netflix, which Netflix has a yeah.
don't even get me started, bro.
I forgot about that until I just said that.
It's happening. We thought they were bluffing. They were not.
No, they just randomly turned it back on. Like we get back to that story in a second. We went into Netflix and it was like, it's like, do you want to make this your primary network? All Netflix apps on this network will work. Like you can modify your home network by going into the app on any TV. Like, so even though I'm not the one paying for the service, my parents technically are. I can set the home network. So if my parents at home want to watch Netflix, can they just not? They pay for it.
I mean, you probably have to put the password in, but yeah.
Like I get, I don't know how much they use it, but that's like, it'd be one thing if like, okay, so on Netflix, I think you can have up to 5 profiles.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be one thing if it's like after 5 after like every single time you log in, you have to like, there's just like either like a password or some way to verify that you are one of these 5 people, which I am one of those 5 people. My parents are one of those 5 people. That makes sense. But no, if you're not on the same internet, like, like if you pay for Netflix and your kids go off to college and they don't come home in over a month, they just can't watch Netflix now? Like, that's dumb.
I don't know, but I'm not. I mean, to be honest, I'm not watching Netflix anymore, so I don't care that much. But
like Better Call Saul. Yeah. After that, I'm not sure how much we're really going to be using it. But
no, I'm done. I mean,
But until then, the other day we went onto Netflix. Actually, before this happened, we went to Netflix, and like we clicked into my profile, and then like the preview thing for the Justice League cartoon started playing. And I'm like, why are you here? Why is the Justice League cartoon here? When there is literally an app for that.
It makes me worry because I think I'm like, are you going to take it off now? Like, is that going to just get randomly? Because I think one of like, not the Batman, the Ant-Man series, but I think the like 2004, the Batman got taken off HBO Max.
And it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix now.
But like, why?
I don't know.
How are you gonna have a whole DC like part of that, but you're just dropping stuff?
Mm-hmm.
that you had the whole time. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
What are we doing?
I don't know. It's very dumb. Like I'm all for having content on the services that I have, but when when you are literally the sole owner of this property, like you should have it. It should be your
Yes,
thing.
and
Like
it's
if
weird that you don't.
right? It would be like going on Netflix. It'd be like, oh, Phineas and Ferb is here for some reason. Like, why do you have this? Like, that should be on Disney Plus and Disney Plus only, or maybe Hulu at a stretch because they own that too. But like, I don't know. That's weird.
I don't get it. I don't get it. But it's like, I mean, there's got to be some kind of like streaming service war or something. I don't know.
Mm.
But yeah, the Batman TV show is not on HBO or Max anymore. But the movie Batman versus Dracula is. So
What?
I don't even
Come
understand
on,
that.
that's a good movie. You should watch that if you
That
haven't.
is a really good movie. Very underrated. But at the same time, it's like, how do you have the like series tie-in movie, but not the series it goes like who is running this? Like what is going on?
I'm imagining a universe where, like, Wizards of Waverly Place isn't on Disney Plus, but the Wizard of Waverly Place, the movie, is.
Yay! Like that's basically where we're at. It's like what who is doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
I don't know.
It's a wild time.
Mm-hmm. um, do you remember about a year ago at this point, before the news for it kind of went quiet, there was that Powerpuff Girls reboot for the CW that was
please tell me no.
It's,
no.
Per several inside sources, it has
geez.
officially stalled production. So, as far as we know, it's no longer being made at this moment.
Burn it with fire. Who signed up? Like, that's a terrible. None of that makes sense. Nothing about that show makes me think, yeah, let's do this in live action. That show makes no sense in terms of how real world applications.
Like the people they got to play the Powerpuff Girls, like Dove Cameron, that like, she would do a killer Bubbles, and the other two people who play the other people, like they look like a grown up of those people. But the point is that they're small, and that's funny. they're small, like baby sized girls with Superman powers who can beat up giant monsters. That's funny.
Yes, and that's kind of my thing. I'm like, you like unless it's toddlers punching kaijus, I don't really want to see it. Like, that's Powerpuff Girls.
Yep. Like, I'm glad it's dead. Please. I don't. No one wanted it. Even the CW didn't want it. They were like, "Oh, the pilot is so bad. We're gonna make you redo the pilot." And then they're like, no, "I guess they've never made it."
That's rough because some pilots have gotten through the cracks that did not need to be there. Right. So they stopped it. They were like, "This is terrible."
Right." And I'm wondering, like, how do these decisions get made where you can be like, because the point of a pilot is to have the studio like pitch an idea or have the people pitch the idea to the studio. This is kind of feels like it's backwards where the studio is like, hey, make us a Powerpuff Girls movie.
Yes.
Okay, here's the first episode. That sucks. Try again. It's like,
yeah. No, I think that is what's happening for a lot of these industries and reboots and stuff. It's like, hey, this is popular, so let's do this again and come back with what you got. And it's like, you want me to take a show that makes no sense barely in cartoons and want me to make it make sense in live action.
Right.
Like, that's not going to work.
There are so many stories about stuff like Coding Kids Next Doors, Fairly Odd Parents, what's it called? Adventure Time. These shows that the pilot was being shopped around for decades. I think Adventure Time, like its first pilot was made in like 1997 or something. It was like they tried for a while before Cartoon Network finally picked them up. I could be wrong about that, but that's no. It was Phineas and Ferb. Phineas and Ferb, that show. I think that was the one that started like the creative process for that started in the '90s, and they finally got picked up in like
Yeah, it's
10
like,
years
oh,
later.
this will never work. It's the same thing, and then boom, magic. Like
It works. It's the same thing.
it works. Yeah, this is
like
like, oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, we thought so too.
like these shows with so much passion and so much effort and creativity put behind them
Great
don't
writing.
get picked up. But then these other things, because the studio thinks that the property is
Cash
popular,
grab.
yeah, for a cash grab, it's like we're gonna give you 2 opportunities to make the pilot work before. Like, how does that make sense?
No, I mean, it's the favoritism. It's whatever. I don't know, but
Whatever.
because I mean, they made a remake of the original show already. I think it's 2016, and that
Was not
bombed.
good.
So it's like
Mm-mm.
you can't make it again in a cartoon. How? What makes you think you're gonna make it work in live action?
Right. I don't know. I'm glad it's dead. Don't try again unless you have
Leave it
a
there.
better idea.
Let it go.
Yeah. Speaking of kind of reboots, kind of, the there have been rumors of that this year Mortal Kombat 11, sorry, Mortal Kombat 12 would be coming out, but they completely switched it up on us and announced Mortal Kombat 1 is coming out this year. It's literally
Yeah,
called
I
Mortal
saw that.
Kombat 1. So in universe, apparently at the end of the story of Mortal Kombat 11, Kung Lao becomes some fire god, and he literally burned down the entire universe and rewrote it in like it in how he wanted it or something. So Mortal Kombat 1 is in that universe, I guess.
Sounds dark. All
Right?
right.
Like a lot of the same characters are still around. I think they said they're gonna try to make them have a more like reworked move sets, which I think is fine. But yeah, that's happening. But the reason I brought it up is because there's a heavy rumor that for the guest character pack that's for DLC, the heavy rumor is that Peacemaker, Homelander, and Omni-Man are going to be in it.
That would be sick.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be really good. Yeah, that would be sick. Yeah, they should.
Uh-huh. Like I can just imagine just how cool the fatalities for Omni-Man and Homelander are gonna
Oh god,
be.
you know, Omni Man's probably fatality. It's probably gonna be like that, like
The train
face crush or like something super
flying in front of a
brutal.
train
Dude.
is just
Oh my god! Oh, the train, not the train. Or just take you and just run you through a planet until you're just mush and just like oh, that show's so brutal, man. I
yeah.
forget like that. I rewatched some of that stuff. I was like, how did I watch? This is like disturbing. Some horrible stuff, like ripping people's heads off and
Yep.
putting holes in people. Just oh my gosh, the countertop thing where you just,
Oh yeah.
ah,
Oh.
oh my, like
Just
stuff
casually
like
just slit them and
just oh my god.
I love that thing where like like that same scene, like that one invisible trooper with the gun, Omni-Man just like runs into him, like he just blood, like there's nothing, there's blood. It's like
Just done.
ah.
He like knocks that one across the street. She's like ripped, like the wrong, like her torso's going this way, her legs are that way. Just like
grabbing that guy's spine before he gets self-destruct.
oh,
Okay.
oh.
Yeah, he's a Mortal Kombat character. That checks out.
Yes, like he was already doing it before it was cool. Like he was auditioning. We just didn't know it.
Yeah.
He had so many fatalities.
It is kind of funny though that I know why this happened. I know why so many people try to pit Omni-Man and Homelander against each other because their shows are both on Amazon Prime. Both shows got very popular around the same time. That makes they're both Superman allegories.
Yeah,
Evil. I
evil
get
Superman
that.
allegories. Yeah.
Omni-Man is on a level that's like so much higher than Homelander could ever
Well,
be.
I mean, he actually knows how to fight. First of all, Homelander just lasers people.
Yeah. Like, yes, Homelander is strong. He is fast. He can fly, but he doesn't have nearly as much control as Omni-Man does. He's
Mm-hmm.
like the only thing he has over Omni-Man is that he has a ranged attack, but it wouldn't hurt Omni-Man. Like it
No,
wouldn't
you
matter.
dodge it easily.
like like there's one thing from the comics. I'm not like gonna. It's not like a huge spoiler or anything, but there's one thing from the Invincible comics where two Viltrumites are fighting and they like fly into the sun and they're fine. It's like
Yeah.
I don't think Homelander could do
Fly into the
that.
sun? I mean, that's crazy when you think about it, because
uh,
like even Superman, whose superpower is this from the sun, like when he flew into the sun, he got basically got cancer. So it's like, eh,
yeah.
it's pretty crazy to
Yeah.
think about.
And on Omni Man on that one planet, I know the composition of their atmosphere isn't the same as ours, but like he's
Hmm.
flying so fast he lit the atmosphere on fire.
Yes.
I don't think Homelander could do that.
No, Lander. I mean, yeah, no. I mean, it's one of those things where he's just gonna get bopped. But I
Yeah.
mean,
but but because it's a fighting game and
right?
like in Super Smash Brothers, like Marth probably shouldn't be able to take on Bowser, for example. It's like like
No,
none of
I
them
mean,
could even come close to stopping Kirby. It's like Kirby
no,
is
no,
it's
no, no.
so
Kirby is like Kirby's like burst all.
yeah.
Could just take everyone. Like, but yeah, I mean, but that's the other thing. It's it's just a fight. It's just like fun to put people on the same pedestal and all that
Right.
stuff. But
Yeah, like that. Yeah, like those are the kind of people. Like I think like when the show ended, we were like either Omni Man's going to be in Mortal Kombat or I don't know what is Mark. Yeah, either or Mark is going to be in Injustice 3, whichever comes first, and
that would
Mortal,
be
Mortal
cool.
Kombat's
Yeah.
first. So
Yeah.
yeah, so, yeah, that's neat. If someone has this game and they have the DLC pack and they let me play it, then I'll play them. That's how that usually goes.
If it is handed to me, I will not accept
Yep.
it.
Okay. So it's been about a week since we last uh, did one of these, and I'm sure we both have some cool new Zelda moments that we over the past week or so. Do you have
Oh yeah,
anything off the top of your head that you want to talk about from Tears of the Kingdom?
Terrytown's still the best.
I haven't been there yet, but I'm sure
I
it
know.
is.
That's why I didn't want to say anything, but like Terrytown's still Terrytown. It's still there's some cool stuff. There's some new interesting stuff that's added, and it makes it worth visiting because there's. I still, at least, I haven't seen it yet, but there still needs to be like a shrine or something I can pinpoint to that's right in Terrytown.
Hmm.
Just because so far I haven't seen one, but
Huh. Okay. Like nothing
I think
nearby or anything.
yeah, I mean that's like relatively kind of like kind of like in the last game there was a shrine you could pretty much straight glide to it,
Mm.
but it wasn't like in the town. But
Yeah.
I eventually I just used my travel medallion from the last game, so I'm like I might do that again if there's
Mm.
one in this game. But yeah, that's I was kind of doing that. There's a good amount to do. I was like there, and there's a lot over there, but yeah, that's just kind of I don't know. Also, the set, bro.
Mm.
You didn't think the soundtrack would get better, but dude, I literally paused the game and was just like, it's like those memes where it's like when the soundtrack comes on, you're just like,
Yeah.
it's like yeah, like it was fine.
uh,
It's great. So,
how many of the like temples have you done?
just one.
Just one, the Death Mountain one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I spent a good portion of this week doing the Wind Temple,
Okay.
and it's yeah the like I didn't hate the Divine Beasts from the previous game. I know a lot of people have issues with them just kind of being kind of bland compared to other Zelda dungeons, but this temple is definitely a huge step up from those. Like it,
They
and yeah,
feel meatier, don't they?
yeah, yeah,
Right?
and I now know what you meant by like little companion. Like there was a little like bird guy who was helping me out.
Yes. Dude, isn't that
Yeah.
awesome?
Yes.
I love that because like they actually like I thought it was just like the super, but they actually fight too. Like I was
Mm.
like, oh, they actually fight. And, like they don't have like health, so you don't have to like help them or feed them. Like they're fine,
Mm.
and they're actually not like they're actually pretty strong. Like sometimes they, like well, actually it's not like because like especially like Kingdom Hearts for example, when you're at higher levels, Donald and Goofy are kind of just meat shields.
Uh,
And it's kind of just like I'm just gonna roll, let them take the hit and then counter. But it's like no, they actually like in this game so far they actually fight back. Now as the enemies get better, I don't know how consistent that's gonna be, but
mm-hmm.
I mean so far I had no complaints. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. And you said when you went to the Death Mountain dungeon, there was like a huge underground area before you got
Yes,
yeah, kind of same with this where it was like this
yeah, I think that's
giant
gonna be yeah,
yeah.
like just because it's like it was like you get to the opening and it was like wow, there's a lot here.
Mm.
And that was all like the front yard. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you didn't even get in the house yet. You're just like, bro,
There
that
was
was a lot.
this really long like basically like parkour like sky map. They had to like do like a bunch of ascending and like paragliding
Oh,
over to various
it sounds
places and
awesome.
yeah, like there's these like bouncy platforms that you can go higher. Like there's just it took a while to get up there, and then you
Right?
descend like onto the dungeon. Like wow, there's more. Like
No.
okay.
It's like a no, like the death battle, it's like a maze, and there's just like you gotta find like get the like tier and you gotta turn this so this goes up now and you gotta
Mm,
like mine carts and it's just like
yeah,
it's so much
I
going
I
on.
do
But
think
I got lost a lot.
yeah, and kind of on that, I do think that at least the wind tip I did, um, I think it was just the right length where it felt challenging enough, but not overwhelming. Where you're like, I don't know where to go. This is
Yeah.
taking too long. I've gotten lost. Like I got lost a couple of times, but not. But I could always just pour back to the middle and then go wherever. But it never felt overwhelming. Like whenever I watch playthroughs of like Twilight Princess or Ocarina of Time, those dungeons take forever, and I don't want to
And
do that.
they're deep. You're like, whoa, like
Uh, like Wind Waker, I love Wind Waker, but some of those like mid to late game dungeons just I don't want to do them
no.
anymore. But yeah, this dungeon I think was the right length for what it was, especially since there was that little like before section before you get there. So yeah, that was very good.
Yeah. So far, yeah. So far I'm all for it. It has been awesome. I will say
Mm-hmm.
I had another run in with the hands, and bro, I didn't realize it, but yo, it gets like the whole screen changes everything. I didn't realize it was like that the last time. I thought it was just raining, but
Uh-huh.
I'm like, no, like the game basically stops and it's like
Yeah.
run.
Um, Next time I haven't done this yet, but I heard you can maybe try if you see the hands, try shooting a Sunday lion at it.
Hmm. So like light, it'll like
I
that
guess
darkness.
not the like luminous seeds, but like specifically a
Yeah,
Sunday
yeah,
lion.
Sunderlion specifically.
Yes.
Like with an arrow or just throw it, do you think?
I don't know. I just heard
I guess we'll
that
find
might
out.
work. Yeah.
I'm about to say I've been marking locations with skulls.
uh,
So I'm like, let me just like yeah, but
yeah.
I'll yeah.
I remember one time there was one like really high tree root that led up to a platform that had a shrine on it, and it was raining at the time. It was like after the rain stops, I should have enough stamina where I can just climb up there.
Hmm.
So I'm waiting, and like the rain is still raining, and the hand gets me. It's like no,
Right?
no.
It's the thing, because like it's so casual. You don't even like you're just living your life. You're just walking around. Bro, I was on a horse.
uh,
Got nabbed on a horse. I was like, what? I was because like when you're on the trail, you're just on autopilot. You're just looking
yep.
around. Like you're not even you know what I mean? The horses got it. And I'm just like, what's
Mm-hmm.
that? Like, what's happening? Oh my no, it's crazy.
Uh,
But no, it's yeah, we gotta figure that out. But
yeah.
yeah, so far the game is as advertised. I like how everything's still pretty much where it was as far as on land, which is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
But just the Sky Islands are so interesting, and like there's so many of them, and
Mm.
like there's always something crazy up there. You're just like, oh yeah, and they're just like, oh yeah, there's a giant rock stone titan thing,
Mm.
whatever that is, and I'm
Yeah,
just like,
I fought my first block, like a big block enemy
yeah,
today. That was fun.
I like those. I
Yeah.
like those. They're not too challenging. It's pretty straightforward how to beat them, but it's
Mm.
still like, don't get squished.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to
Yeah.
be fast ish.
And it was I don't remember what they're called, but the one I fought said had a one next to his
Yeah,
name, so I assumed there'd
there's
be
a
a
level.
version
Yeah.
two, three,
Oh yeah.
etc.
There's levels. Yep.
Cool.
I found that out the hard way. I found it two first. That was
Oh,
fun.
cool.
Yeah, I got one shot it immediately.
Uh-huh.
I was just like, oh, that's not good.
So some just fun stuff that I ran into this week. So there was one area where I don't remember where I was in the map. I was just walking along, and off to my right, I see this field area where, kind of on one side of the field there was a bunch of those Zonai drones, and on the
Mhm.
other side there was like a little camp of bokoblins, and in between them was this like wooden fence. I was like, huh, interesting. So I go over and I shoot a fire arrow at the wooden fence. The wooden fence burns down, and they notice each other and start fighting.
Yes. Yes.
Like that is so cool. And the Zonai are winning. They have flamethrowers, obviously. But then
Yeah.
this moblin comes out of nowhere. I didn't even see him, and he just like bodies the last two. And I think there's one more that comes in and burns him to death. But the next guy like half his health left. Let's come in and just like snipe him. It's like, huh? It's
Yeah,
all this
no,
stuff
like,
for me.
hey, dude,
I'd
yeah,
have
that's
to lift the
amazing.
finger.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they just fight, and they're just like, wow, look at these drops. You're like, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I've done that where, like, I just waited till the end, and then I just sneak strike the last.
Yep.
I'm so, like, and it's so funny, because, like, you feel bad, but you really don't. And you're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, y'all just got finesse. Like, it's fine. But yeah, but they fight a lot, actually. Like, there's a lot of random encounters where they're at, because it used to be, like, in the old game, it was like, there'll be like a random villager fighting a bokoblin or something. It's like, no, it's different enemies have beef. Like, they're going at it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just like, oh, wow, all right. I'm going to just,
Yeah.
steer clear of that, wait for the winner, and go from there.
Yep.
But,
And
yeah.
friendly fire is on, so even like they can hit each other if they're not careful.
Yes.
That's cool.
That's pretty awesome.
I don't know the implications of this, but I by accident today realized that if you are holding a rock over your head and activate Ascend, you could go through the rock.
Does the rock fall?
Yeah, the rock will fall. Like, you'll fall immediately after. You can maybe like pull your parachute out for a half second, but you could go up through the rock.
Ah. I mean, I don't know how, but somehow that could probably come in handy.
Sure.
I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, I legitimately can't think of any reason why you would do that, but it's just something I just accidentally did. It's like,
It's cool. I mean, yeah, pretty cool so far.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think. What else have what else? I feel like I learned some stuff, and I was like, oh, wait. So I've been using, like, I don't know, because, like, Ultra Hand just feels so, like, you just use it for everything. It's just helpful. It's just, but, like, Rewind or whatever, Recall or whatever it's called, I'm assuming, like Stasis, you're probably going to be able to upgrade it later with, like, you can do it on enemies and stuff, because that's going to be way more useful.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, currently it's pretty, I don't, like, it's kind of, I haven't used it that much. I've only used it, like, when it was, like, a puzzle requirement, it feels like.
I used it more recently, kind of in conjunction with Ultra Hand. There was one area where, like, I saved the game because I wasn't sure if I could do this right. I was on a sky island and I saw something off the distance I wanted to get to, so I like got as high as I could and like tried to paraglide over, and I did not have enough stamina, so I reloaded and was like, I wonder if I got one of those like bird things that I can get over there. So what I did was I made my little plane. I lifted it up with Ultra Hand for about 5 seconds, and then put it back down. Got on it, did recall, and then it was stood up there for a bit, and then turned off.
Yeah.
Recall, and then I flew over. So you could at least get a little more height that way.
Yes. No, I have used that before, especially with like aiming and stuff, because like, yeah, I've used it for like, like you make a bridge and then it's like a ramp almost.
Yeah.
And then you'll just leave it up for a second, put it down, recall it, and then it's still there, and then you run up and jump off. I'm like, that's got me through a couple puzzles. I don't know if that was the intended way, but it worked for me. So
Uh-huh.
it's especially when it's like a lot of lava and stuff. That's helped a
Oh
lot.
yeah,
But yeah.
there was one shrine I did where you have to get this ball like across this lava trench, and it was like,
Hmm.
and it gives you the parts to make a little car that can go over it, like I guess swim in lava. And it was like, I have an ice rod. I would see if this works. So I use the ice rod on the lava, and it turns into little like platforms. Like okay, so I just
Yep.
walked
Yep.
across with my ball.
Yeah, or if you have one of those little hydrants, you can just hold it and then just
Yeah.
keep. Yeah, I've used that before, and I found out you can jump while you have them
Oh,
now,
nice.
which I didn't know at first. So that's really helpful because I used to like accidentally fall in between the cracks and burn, but it's like now you can just yeah.
Yeah. Um, and the last thing I have in my notes, the first time I got to Lookout Landing, the little like hub area,
Hmm.
I was a little annoyed that there wasn't a stable there. Like I had a horse, and I was like, I want to register as soon as possible. There's a little side quest there where you can like fix a barn, and it turns into a stable.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
figure that
because the
out.
guy's
It's good.
working on it or whatever. So yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Mm,
Yeah. Have you used a lot of the pony points yet? Because I haven't yet, but I feel like I need to.
they're they're more. I think they're mainly aesthetic. Like they the so far I think I've used them to get a pulley thing for your horse, a new saddle, a message from the horse goddess, which is interesting. But like they're not. You can't really like use anything that. Well, I guess the like
Yeah,
the
I mean,
pole thing is nice.
there's probably going to be a side quest for that.
Yeah, I
That was
haven't
even in
used
the
it yet.
trailer.
Exactly. Yeah, you need. I'm sure you'll need it at some point for that. Um, yeah, I don't think it'll be like, oh, you get a free horse or whatever else, or something like that.
Free horse.
Mm.
Buy one, get one free.
But yeah, it's good. I haven't got tired of it yet. Put over
No,
40 hours I think into it so far. It's good.
I don't even know. I don't. I've been playing a lot. It's so much fun. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like it's funny because my brother will just be like, "I don't see you playing that often," and then like he's like, "Yeah, but like, see, I'll play in little spurts, but they'll be like 8 hours long.
Uh,
Like I'll just sit there, and then I'm like, I started at 10:30. It's like 4 o'clock, and it's like, yeah, I'm still going. It's like,
uh,
but no, it's just so fun. You get sucked in, and like, and there's so much to explore, and like, oh, this is cool, and I want to learn about what's going on, and oh, wait, this is happening. What's with this? And yeah,
mm,
and there's still like the whole, because I've only got like the top, like right of the map, so I'm trying to like slowly make my way around. But I don't know, it's just a lot of, I don't know. And it's I don't know, I like it. I like how people remember you and like, oh, you're Link, right? Yeah, I
mm.
remember. And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I will say though, maybe it's just me, but I'm like, I need to get more armor.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
keep getting whacked. Like I have like 7 hearts, I think now.
Mm.
But I get like I've been getting like I the amount of one shots I've gotten has been absurdly high for this early. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
how was I supposed to be ready for that? Like I was I'm pretty good, but I ain't that good. But I'm like, I did not think that was gonna one shot
Mm.
me because I got like an armor set. I just haven't got any of the fairies. Have you found any of the fairies yet?
I
Or
found
fairy
where they
mountains
are. I
yet?
haven't like activated them yet, but I found where they
Right.
are.
Yeah. Because it's I like how it's different in this game. It's not just pay for it. I like how it's like a whole quest
Mm.
part. But yeah, I gotta figure that out because it seems like I gotta go like around and find. I don't know, but I'll figure it out.
Mm. Um, yeah. Uh, last topic I have is actually one of my favorite things we haven't done in a while: Nerd Clash.
Oh, okay.
So it was, yeah, it was early December of 2018 where we did something similar to this, and I'm doing this again now because the movies that are coming out now are weirdly similar to the movies that came out in 2018. We have a Spider Verse movie, we have a new Transformers movie, and we
Mm-hmm.
have a new entry in a DC movie.
Yeah. And a Shazam movie this year, right?
He,
Wasn't that 2018 or was that
that was
27?
2019.
Oh,
But like But in June we're having
Close.
those three movies,
Okay.
whereas in December of 2018 we had those like Spider
Right.
Verse, Aquaman, and Bumblebee. But this
Okay.
year, this June, we're having Across the Spider Verse, The Flash, and Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
Yeah.
So just like back then, I want us to guess which of those three movies we think will make the most money at the box office.
If it's strictly based on how much money, I think it's going to be Flash. Just because
Mm-hmm.
I think like, the idea of like, it's a superhero movie. There's Michael Keaton Batman, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is going to get a lot more butts and seats than people might realize. And as much as I love, I love Spider Verse, I don't think animation's still going to get the same amount of love as it should, even though it definitely should by
Uh-huh.
far. And I don't, and as far as I know, I think Transformers Rise of the Beast is going to be really good. It looks really good,
Yeah.
but I just feel like Transformers as a whole, I think the general audience might be a little over Transformers. But again, I don't know. It depends on how well the movie does. But I think if Flash is at least decent, it's gonna make a good amount of money.
So here's I'm so conflicted on this. Like, obviously, I've had more time to prepare than you have, and even I'm still like confused because
Right?
Bumblebee is the best Transformers movie, like live action movie they've made. But I
Yeah.
think the reason why it didn't make as much as it really should have was because it felt like a spinoff. Like it's about Bumblebee. There's not really like it felt like a much smaller movie. Like it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't it just the general audience wasn't like as excited for it as one like a premiere Transformers movie. Whereas this movie, Optimus Prime is the main character again.
Right.
Like obviously, Bumblebee and all these other characters are still in it, but like he is in Optimus is in all the promotional stuff. Like just it feels a lot bigger. I feel like it coming out in between a bunch of other probably bigger things potentially isn't the best idea. I think it's coming out the week after Spider Verse, the week before Flash. But if it can hit a huge opening weekend, I think it could have this. And if the critics think it's better than the average Transformers movie, which isn't hard to do, it could kind of ride into being
Yeah.
one of the biggest movies of the summer, if not the biggest. Spider Verse, the first movie is obviously a I don't know
S
if
tier.
say cult classic because it's
It's
everyone
just
loves
that
it.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the early previews of this one seem to be just
Yeah.
just as good as that one. They're pushing it a lot harder this time. Um, just it feels like a bigger event this time around. Although, like I said, because it is animation, like I don't know how I just don't know how it'll do because of that.
That's my thing.
Yeah, and Flash, like obviously, Aquaman made a stupid amount of money. We did not see
Right?
that coming,
Right?
but there are early trackings of this movie that are saying it's tracking to make about 70 million domestic opening weekend, which is not great.
True.
Obviously, those projections could be wrong. It could make more overseas, or it could just make more here, whatever. And this will be worldwide box office for this. Um, but and just people don't really seem to love Ezra Miller's Flash, but
Yeah, I
the
agree.
trailers even kind of make it feel like it's not his movie. It's
Yeah,
not.
I agree, but
And, and every single it's weird. Every single Twitter post I see about this movie looks like a copy pasta where it's like this is the greatest superhero movie ever made. Like I loved it from the beginning to end. Like it had heart. It really is Flash's movie. Like there's these bullet points. It feels like even Stephen King got an early screening and he was like it is the greatest superhero movie ever made. Like I really felt like
I
this
wonder how
just
much money they paid him to say that.
he I don't I don't think they did. Like he's very like I don't know. Like I don't know. It's just it's weird. Like the weird. There's this weird. It's weird. But then all like there's this other group of people who essentially there's no one in the middle. Which I know is
Hmm.
generally the case with movie criticism in general these days. But it seems like either people think it is the absolute greatest super movie ever made somehow, or people think,
That's fair.
wow, how did this movie get made? The effects are bad. The Michael Keaton Batman stuff is clearly just pandering. Flash is barely in it. Like Supergirl is fun, but but again, why is she in it? Like just this weird dichotomy of either you're going to love it or you're not going to watch it, pretty much. And I just don't know how much Michael Keaton's Batman is going to get people in the door. Obviously, people who are in the 30s and 40s who grew up with Michael Keaton, they're like that's why he's in every trailer because that's who
Right,
they're
right.
targeting. I don't know why you would pick. I don't. I the fact that he's the main draw for a Flash movie is just an inherent issue with the movie, but whatever. But how many of those 30 to 40-year-old dads are there going to be who are bringing their kids to see Michael Keaton's Batman?
I mean, like I would argue a good amount because again, it is the age of superheroes still. So like the summer superhero movie for one, and like yeah, man. I mean, kids want to see superheroes, and like it gives more. Like older people have a buy-in. Younger people are just gonna see it because it's summertime. They're out of
Mm-hmm.
school. It's the first movie that comes out after school, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like it makes sense.
Mm.
So I don't know. Strictly speaking on how demographics work and how much money to be made, I think it's Flash. Out of these three movies, I'm probably least excited for that one.
Yes.
But statistic based on like how movies work and what how money is made, I think it's that one just because I think it comes out at the best time. B, I think it just because it has that reaching for multiple audiences and it's kind of the biggest theme right now. I think it
Mm-hmm.
just has a lot of outside of the movie stuff going for it. So I think it'll make the most money.
Right. I will say Transformers movies have historically done very well, even if it's a pretty packed summer. I know 2017 had a crazy amount of movies that summer. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Wonder Woman. I think there was
Mm.
one or two other pretty big movies that summer. Um, like pretty much every single summer a Transformers movie came out. They made over $1 billion, even though like those years had big movies that year. So even though this movie is coming out in the middle of two other major movies, it still could draw enough people
Yeah.
in to make enough money. And also, the Spider Verse coming out first, if it gets a pretty big opening weekend, and then you know critics are that's gonna be the highest rated movie of those three,
Oh, for sure.
no doubt.
No, for sure. I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, it's gonna be the best one, and it's
Yeah,
like we know this, but money wise, yeah,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so if it gets a big enough opening weekend and word of mouth could carry it to be have the most. However, Rise of the Beast is a shorter movie, therefore they could potentially play more screenings per day. That could
see
be a
now we're just
factor.
splitting. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. It's like it's getting so much like, yeah. Well, this movie is like, well, I'm like, if this movie comes out last, it'll likely have the longest window, and
That's
like, you know
that's
what I
true because
mean?
after those three, the
It's a
next major
while.
movie is technically Elemental, which is coming out the same day as The Flash, but no one's going to see that unfortunately. Like I don't. I'm sure it's
Yeah,
gonna be good. I never doubt Pixar's quality
it
outside of
looks
Onward,
so
but
wonderful.
like,
Like, but it just like I'm. It's probably gonna be slightly better than we expect, but it
yeah,
feels so played out.
I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then after that, we have Indiana Jones, which is probably gonna be at least decent. At least decently big.
Yeah.
But
And then what else? Barbie.
it's Barbie and Oppenheimer late July, but not really anything else in between there.
Yeah, there's not too much going on.
So if whichever one of those three just like
Takes it.
takes it. Whichever one of those three can sustain it longer, I think is the one that because I could easily see. the Flash being a situation where it has a massive opening weekend, and then if critics hate it, if word of mouth isn't great, it could tank just like BVS or these other movies.
Absolutely.
Like the reason Aquaman did as much as it did is because, especially overseas, because it wasn't that bad. It was kind of bad. It wasn't that bad.
I,
Word of mouth, like, hey, this one isn't that bad, so people
yeah.
kept watching it.
I still think it's 100% because there was nothing else to watch. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, that was just, there's nothing else coming out. Like, I feel like had that
Yeah,
been sandwiched in with Shazam was, it would have completely flopped.
yeah, because well, just like with the Flash, it did actually come out third of the three we talked about, and it just was the Christmas movie of that year, and it just kind of went into January, February, and then just kind of made the most money.
Right?
But because this summer is more crowded, you know,
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, no. I mean, it's a toss up, but we'll have to see. But
yeah,
like, man, my bets on Flash just because it feels statistically like what would make the most money based on where we're at.
I am actually going to throw my hat in Transformers ring.
That's fair.
Maybe I'm biased, but also, I mean, I like Spider-Man too, but I like
Well,
Transformers.
yeah, but I mean, we both agreed that Spider-Man's gonna be the most enjoyable, but not necessarily make the most money. So I
Yes,
think that's the biggest thing.
yes, um, but yeah, because it is a shorter movie, because Transformers movies tend to still do very good at the box office, even in crowded years. This is kind of a return to form of what people want for Transformers. Like it just seemed like the best of both worlds of every like the best of what Bayformers can do, the best of what Transformers can be. Like Beast Wars are always cool to see those characters do stuff. Like I my money is on that, and I think it's gonna cap out at like 850 million. I don't think it's gonna break a billion. I don't think any of these are gonna break a billion, but I think that movie is like 800 something.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess Spider Man's gonna do around 6, and I unfortunately like Spider Verse 1 did around 340, I think, maybe
Which is
400.
crazy.
Yes, yeah, crazy low.
Oh my gosh, like that is
But yeah,
that's criminal.
and the Flash could either be in between there, or it could have an Ant-Man situation where it's
It could
anticipated but then falls off the face of the earth
falls
really
off
fast.
hard. And I will say, I think people are being more critical of movies lately.
Yeah,
So
because
yeah, I do think that's a good point.
yeah, because Guardians 3 actually opened lower than Ant-Man, but it's tracking way higher now. It's close
Yeah,
to 700 now.
it's the longevity.
Yeah, but Ant-Man capped out at like 430 something. Yeah,
Sheesh.
yeah.
Better than Shazam though.
Yeah.
That just
By like 4
nosedive.
times, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like that just that's rough. Like it wasn't great, but I didn't think it didn't deserve
I enjoyed
that.
it enough. It was fine. It was fine. Like
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, if you don't bring it these days, they will eat you alive. Like the
yeah,
critics don't care.
yeah, and that's kind of my fear with Flash. Like
That's fair.
I don't think it's gonna bring it.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think the audience score will be enough to say
I
that.
think opening weekend is gonna make as much as Shazam did overall, and then after that, it's just gonna kind of
Yeah, just kind of teeter off.
yeah,
This will be
probably.
interesting to come revisit.
Although it is gonna be very funny considering this movie has been in the works for like 8 years now. I think the
I
current
mean,
estimates are it's costing them over 300 million to make. So if it doesn't make 700-800 million, it's not even gonna break even.
and again, we went through what like three directors. They rewrote the script a couple times. Like this movie is been completely reworked multiple times. Like
Hmm.
we're just so much has been thrown into this, and it's like, is this finally happening?
Yeah. And like the trailers technically look good if you're a sucker for nostalgia pandering, which I am.
I feel like the generation kind of is though.
Yeah.
We'll eat it. Like people will eat that stuff up. So I
Mm,
feel like now if you're still doing it now, you're good. But in a couple years, you might run into some
yeah.
trouble.
Yeah. But we'll see. Hey, maybe we'll be surprised that Indiana Jones is the one that breaks a billion. It could happen.
If that happens, I would be shocked.
Uh,
But anything's possible.
yeah, yeah, probably around beginning to the middle of July, we'll look back and see which one made the most. So, yeah, my money's on Transformers, your Flash, Spider Verse will be the best. So,
Yes. Yes.
we can't lose. Okay. Anything else you want to bring up or discuss before we sign off?
I do actually.
Go.
I don't know if you saw this,
Mm-hmm.
but the Spider-Man 2 gameplay trailer dropped earlier
Yeah.
this week. Bro,
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm on record saying there's no reason to get a PS5. Bro, we are in the considering
Oh
stage because
no.
man, I'm gonna tell you, me and my brother, we were watching this trailer, and I'm just like, oh, there's no way it's gonna. Oh, it's like that. Oh, like no, just like the character models look good. The way the symbiote kind of just like is like crazy. Like it looks really cool. I like you could switch mid gameplay. Like there's a lot that I was like, this looks epic.
Oh yeah. That whole PlayStation presentation, sorry, PlayStation showcase was a little underwhelming overall, but that at the very end was very good. I personally felt like the gameplay segment lasted a little too long to the point
Agreed.
where once you get to that section in the game, you're like, oh, we're just here now, and then
Yeah,
you play that for 10 minutes, and then I guess
I agree.
like obviously they could change it, and like they could have kept stuff out or
I mean, they're
whatever, but
not though.
yeah.
They're not. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Oh
not.
yeah.
Like,
The same thing happened with Spider-Man One, where that sequence where you're chasing after Mister Negative, you're just like,
yeah, the helicopter.
yeah,
Yeah, it was. I
I've
mean,
been, I've
that
seen
was
this.
shot for shot, basically the same when the actual game came out. It
Yeah,
was still fun to do, and it was
yeah,
by no means the only good part. But like, that was yeah. I mean, they showed a lot, but I mean, I was impressed. I was like,
yeah,
oh, this looks good. The gameplay looks as fluid as ever. The swinging looks, and they keep. I mean, the distinct style. It just looks really good. I'm all for it.
yeah. And I don't know of many other times I can think of where, like, while he's while he's in the symbiote suit, it's like acting like it's like has like the tendrils and other stuff like Venom does. Like
Yeah.
it usually just enhances his abilities and like have the stuff coming out, which is
Right.
I'm all for. That's cool.
I think it's cool. And like, I don't know, it looks like I'm not sure how this is gonna go, but like as the game goes on, it's gonna get more and more alien like maybe. And just like I mean, that would be really cool. To like how it like affects how you play and stuff. Like
Yeah, I kind of wonder like how will this game be paced because the way that segment played out, it was as if this is the first time Miles had seen Peter
agreed.
in that. So how long before then had he had the black suit?
Right.
I
It's like
assume Miles is over there in Brooklyn doing his own thing, and he's over in Queens doing his own thing, and then they finally team up for this mission, I guess. Like
yeah.
how much of the game before that will you actually be playing as Black Suit
Right.
Peter?
Because the part they showed in the last game, it was about halfway through. So it was a while. So there's a good chance they might just not interact a ton, or like kind of like an episode 3 thing where you see him a lot at the beginning, don't see him for most of the middle, and at the end you're like, hey bud, you doing okay? You know, like kind of thing. So
Yeah, because we know that Venom is going to be in this game.
absolutely.
I just kind of fear like how much of the game will be conflict between Miles and Peter, and then how much will be Venom actually being around. Because if it's not paced right, Venom could feel like Venom from Spider-Man 3, where he's just there for 10 minutes and then the movie's over.
I mean, the way again, and not to always compare it, but like the way it was in the last game, even though Mr. Negative was hard pressed as the villain, he was only the villain for like half the game. And by the end, you're fighting Sinister Six, Doc Ock's a huge thing. So my thing is like kind of in the same way they had Kraven in this trailer. It could kind of start out as like the lizard, like the lizard's doing his thing. You're trying to get him and stop Kraven at the same time. And while you're doing that, you're building up to Venom stuff. And then Venom's kind of the like second half or, last third act, kind of finishing that out. So that's
Mm,
probably what I'm thinking. But
right.
we'll see. I think it'll. Hopefully it'll be long to be fleshed out, because I think this game will be longer. Just because the last one did feel not short, but it did feel a little. Once
Yeah.
it got going, it kind of wrapped up
Uh,
pretty fast.
I do. I essentially want Venom once he's actually like in the game. I want him to be like a kind of ever-present like force of nature in the city. Like you're just swinging, and because you know how when you're playing the game, if someone's about to attack you, you have like the spider sense
Oh yeah,
thing. I want like if Venom's about to attack you, that doesn't show up. He just attacks you.
yes, that would be so good. That would be so good. You know, Spire Sense, you just get decked.
Uh,
That would be awesome. Actually, that'd be
mm,
probably some of the best attention to detail and like source material sticking with there could ever be.
mm, like kind of similar to Arkham Knight, where you're just swinging around and you just go, and all of a sudden, Man Bat's just there. It's like,
Oh
the Venom is
gosh.
there, just gets you.
Oh, dude, that was one of the worst jump scares too. Because there's no warning.
No.
You don't even know Man Bat's in this game,
Uh,
and he just scares the Jesus out of you. You're just like, oh my gosh, like.
yeah, this game has potential to be to be pretty good.
Maybe the year next year, maybe So
Yeah, like I was talking to my brother about this last night. Like, it just there are certain games that just they're very very good, but they just keep coming out in the wrong years. The Horizon games, Horizon Forbidden or Zero Dawn is a pretty good game, but it came out weeks before Zelda. And then its sequel, Forbidden West, is very good. Came out weeks before Elden Ring. Sorry, that game's gonna
you're
win.
right. Like, you just lose. Like you can't
Like
win that.
Spider-Man was one of the 6 best games of 2018, but I'm sorry, you got to deal with God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2. Like,
Yes.
even though I think Spider-Man like should have won certain categories that Red Dead did. Red Dead just got every category, and then God of War got best game direction, so it won Game of the Year, and Spider-Man got nothing. Like, sorry.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. You kind of just it's like there are certain years you just can't it's like you can't there's nothing you can do. It's like
Yeah.
you can. I mean, second is nice, but it's like you can't.
But like this game is probably going to be phenomenal. But Final Fantasy
Yes.
16 and Zelda, obviously, even like Resident Evil 4 is also potentially going to be there. Like the Dead Space remake, Metroid Prime remake, whatever else. Nintendo, Microsoft, Starfield could be very good. Like
It's still happening.
Like there are a bunch of games that came out this year that just if you're not peak in your field like Zelda is, like Final Fantasy will be, like you might
It's just
feel overshadowed.
Yeah. No, it's like A list only. It's like you can't unless you're just like S tier, it's just not the
Right.
year.
It essentially comes down to will Zelda be in the best action game category? Because if it is, then I'm sorry.
It's over.
But if it's
Yeah,
not, then Spider-Man has a. Although, well, I guess the Resident Evil 4 could be that category technically.
I mean,
I don't know.
depending on how they go with Final Fantasy, you can argue that too. So it's like
It is more of an action game, yeah. The bleed.
right. I mean, the later issues have definitely been more action than role play. So it's like
I think
it's
one of the head game designers worked on Devil May Cry. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So
Yeah.
man, no, it's just kind of like, I mean, what are you gonna do?
yeah.
You're not gonna win music. You're not gonna, you know what I mean? Like you're not, you're just not. Like you just you're not gonna beat Final Fantasy music. Like it doesn't matter. Like you just no.
It is very funny when like when there are like 6 games that are clearly like these are the 6 best games of the year, and then every single category is just these 6 games. It's like
Yes.
best game direction. Oh, these 5 games. Best score. I guess these 5 games.
Well, yeah, because it's like if you just dominate every category except like sports game, it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, what can you really do?
Although it is funny when like last year was like with Stray. Yeah, Stray, that one indie game where you play as a cat. It's like, I wonder what game's gonna win best indie game. Oh, Stray. Okay, I was like,
Yeah, it's just like the only thing that can be won is not the things they don't qualify for. Anything else they're in is kind of a sweet.
right.
So,
It's like Smash Ultimate was the best fighting game of 2019, huh? Who was also there for Game of the Year. It's like, I wonder who's gonna win.
yeah, come on,
Yeah.
you're in the MVP conversation, you got your own position. Like
Yeah.
there's no, yeah. But
Yeah, Spider-Man, it's going to be good. I want it to win the awards it deserves, but also I think Zelda is a very, very, very
yeah.
good video game.
Well, I mean, because the thing is, it's like we were like, if Zelda is half as good or on the same par of the last game, it's over. And so far, it's
over.
low-key kind of better. So it's like, well, that's a wrap.
Yep.
So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, better luck next year, pretty much. So it's just kind of like,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah. So you might get a PS5 this year.
I mean, this game looks insane. So I'm definitely considering it. But again, do you is it really worth getting a console for one game? You know what I mean? But then again, my brother's really trying to get Final Fantasy 16, so it's like, well, I guess if we're both want a game, it's like it's not that I can't afford it. It's like, do I really need to spend that much money on a system I may only play for one game? It's like,
I mean, there'll be other games like once you have it that you'll play.
Yeah, but for how long? Like a couple. I mean, we got to wait till a couple months for. I don't even know what else I really want on the system.
I mean, if you have it, you'll. That Ratchet and Clank game. You didn't.
Yeah.
Wolverine's coming out either next year or the year after.
Yeah, but that's a year at least. I mean, to just sit on it.
Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, but I already got Jedi Fallen Order. I haven't finished that yet, so like.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I still have PS4 games to finish, so it's like I feel irresponsible getting a PS5. Plus, I still got Switch, and that's just gonna be dropping stuff all the time. So it's like I don't need it. So like one game doesn't feel like, even though it's a really good game, it looks like I don't feel like it's worth it just yet. But I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, maybe this holiday there'll be some bundle or discount or something on it.
Yeah, true.
Because I feel like we're in their third year. I feel like it could be time for a slim or a remodel or something that would make it.
They're
cheaper.
saying a Pro supposedly is in the works. So
okay, whatever. I feel like you haven't really tapped into what the PS5 can already do.
Well, that's what I said. Well, I guess I feel like because of the scalping, it feels like the PS5 still just come out, but it's been some years. So like
almost 3 years, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, it doesn't feel like it because of COVID and no one could get one, et cetera, but still, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, so I'm like, maybe I'll just wait for the Pro. I don't know. It's kind of like the Switch. I just wait for the OLED, but.
Right. You have an OLED?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, if I have day one Switch.
Still I know. And again, I think that's totally fair, but it's like, for this, I didn't think I knew I wasn't gonna get one when it first dropped, and like the PS5 was the same way. Like I'm not gonna be that guy who's parking outside. Like I'll do it for games, but I rarely do that for systems.
Yeah, but you get your Switch 4 years after it came out, so But so if Sony continues to show you that it's worth it,
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, even my PS4, it was a while. I mean, I had my PS4 like 2016, so like.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, but like I'm still using it, So it's like I don't, it's not really. I don't see a reason not to, but.
I think that's everything I have. Anything else you want?
That's all I got.
All right. So with that, we will see you all next time.
Take care.